Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Designs by Dana and I'm Dana, and I'm also a close to my heart maker. Today I'm working on day 13 of the Christie's Beautiful Life 30-day sketch challenge for June. This sketch was created by Shannon Allure, A-L-L-O-R. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a relatively simplistic sketch with some horizontal paper stripes going across here, and then some verticals up here, and then some embellishments going, throughout the layout this way. Let me bring in my photos that I plan to scrapbook on this layout. These are photos that I actually took yesterday. Went out to dinner for my daughter's birthday. This is my daughter back here with the bunny ears, and her best friend Tori. This is Tori's adorable little baby Primrose, and we took the girls out for Jordan's 26th birthday, and I got to spend a little time playing with this little cutie while everybody ate their dinner. And I loved the colors in this dress. And this is really where I got my inspiration for this layout. So the theme of today's video is how to pull a lot of different paper patterns together from different packs to work with your inspiration. So that's kind of what I'm working with and my idea. So I'm going to put these over here, and I'm going to pull in my bingo card I've been working on. Here's where I'm at so far, and I'm going to pull in my little jar here. I'm kind of hoping I get the free space today because I have a vision in mind, and I'm worried that several of these items on here won't work with my vision. So based on what I get, I may end up throwing the item out. So here I got markers or colored pencils. So I'm going to hang on to that. I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to use the markers or color pencils, but we'll see what happens. It's not in my vision currently, but you never know what can happen. So let me get this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my papers and we'll get started and see where it leads us. Okay, like I said in my intro video, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted this layout to look like. And that included a my base page with a stamped image of flowers kind of going from this corner up to the top corner, and then some mixed media with some stenciling over those flowers. So I'm going to bring in my base page and show you what I started with. And you can see there's a lot of things going on here, but I'm bringing it in to show you because sometimes our visions don't turn out the way we think they're going to turn out, and we have to scrap it. And this is one of those examples. So this is my paper, and I'm really happy with my paper choices. As far as the paper I'm using, I think I mentioned my goal here was to pull paper from a lot of different paper packets and show how they really coordinate well together. This paper here, this gold, it's a Gold Rush pattern paper, is from the Grateful Heart paper packet. This is Peacock pattern paper, and it is from the Retired Swan Lake paper packet. And then this is a Sangria pattern paper, and it's from a Retired Mix-Ins. So with this project, I really wanted to highlight and focus on how well you can pull pattern paper from a lot of different sources, and they work so well together. And again, that inspiration came from the patterns and colors in her little floral dress, and they work perfectly together. So that's how I came up with those papers. And my vision, like I said, looked something like this. And I wanted these flowers to kind of flow across the page. So I stamped them, and then I came in with the stencil, and you can see that I stenciled over them, and I just was not happy with it. So I did a little experimenting before I just scrapped it and started over. So you can see here, because I did draw the colored pencils or marker bingo, I played around with some color penciling, and it was okay, but it's not really what I had in mind for this layout. Played around with some other stencils down here and just kind of got some ideas before I started over and had a better vision of what I wanted to do. I'm going to show you another one. Now this one turned out really pretty. This is a flower that I did color in with color pencil, and I used a polychromos color pencil for this, and these are made by Faber-Castell, and the camera's probably not doing this one justice. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit closer here. This one turned out gorgeous, but it took quite a while, so I did not want to color a lot of these for this particular layout, and it's not really the look I was going for her layout. So I'm going to use that on a card or something else. So I decided that I would go with the marker route. So I don't know with this if it's the color of background paper I'm using, the stamping, the stenciling, you know, or the combination of everything. It just wasn't working. So I want you guys to know in these process videos, I wanted to be transparent because sometimes our visions don't really work out and we have to just scrap everything and start over. So I'm starting over with a piece of white cardstock for my base, and I'm keeping my same papers, my pattern papers, and my same basic theme with the sketch. So I'm going to keep with that idea, and I'm still keeping with the same stamp set. And so let me bring that in and show it to you. This is from the Dream Maker Special, and it's a double stamp. So this is the front side, this is the back side, and I really love these flowers and I wanted to use them. So instead of stamping them on my page, what I've done is I've stamped them on cardstock and I've colored them in with marker this time. So I'm going to use them to pop up as embellishments. So I'm going to bring in my photos here, and I'm going to use them this way instead. So I think that's going to look much better. I'm much happier with that. So I wanted to show you that I also incorporated the color pencil as well. So with this one, I met both criteria with the marker and the color pencil to add the highlight into the flower. So I'm going to use these guys here and bring my camera down to more close-up shot and just show you how I colored one of those in, so you can just see that technique, and then we'll move on with the rest of the layout. So let me bring my camera down and we'll color one of those in. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but my color choices on my markers are the gold yellow blend, and then I'm using a Copic marker for the teal color, which is a BG09, and my pencil is a Derwent drawing pencil, and it's Chinese white 7200. And you can see I'm coloring this in with my first layer in the medium color of the tri-blend marker. And what I like about these markers is they do have a light, a medium, and a dark shade to them. So I'm starting with the medium, and I'm just going to color in all of those petals to start with. And I'm going to give them a first layer, and then I went back in with a second layer just to kind of darken them up. And then once I get my second layer done, I'm going to come in with the dark, and that's really going to be where we see the contrast come in. So I start with the center of the petals and just follow the line that the stamp already has there for me, and then I start in the center and just kind of work out some of that color, and then I come back in with the medium and just start to pull the color out. And I can do this as much as I want, but I use the dark and the medium just to go from the center of the flower outward and just pull and blend those two colors together and pull it outward. And one thing about these markers is that the longer they sit on the paper, they do lighten up. So right now it looks quite a bit darker, and it lightens up quite a bit as I work with it and it sits into the paper. So I'm just going to kind of keep blending that around and throughout. And the center of the flowers, I plan to cover up with some stickles, so I'm not real worried about how the center is going to look, so I'm just going to cover that up with some marker. Now, the Copic markers, what I like about these is they have a brush tip, but they don't have multiple colors. They're really designed to blend the different colors of marker together. So this is one color per marker, but I can get a little bit similar effect by adding different layers. So I'm just going to add a little bit of layer here with the marker, and then we'll come in with the pencil. Now I'm slowing this part down with the pencil so you can see it a little bit better. It might be something that you maybe haven't seen before. So I'm basically following that line in the flower that the stamp has already created for me. So that's really my guide. So I'm kind of starting with that shape and keeping consistent with the shape of each petal. And then I'm adding in my highlights with the white pencil. And with this technique, you can add as much or as little as you want. So I'm adding kind of, again, consistent with that middle line or shape there in each petal, and then putting a little bit more color down in the center of the petals where the stamen is of the flower, and then pulling the color out again like I did with the darker marker, only this time I'm doing it with the white pencil. So I'm just pulling the color out, and then I'm pulling some down from the tip of the petal as well. And just kind of working my way around each petal that way. And notice I'm kind of turning my paper as I go. It makes it a little bit easier for me to work with that way. So it's an artist thing. It's okay to turn your paper as you go to make it easier for you to see and for you to work with. If you're right-handed, left-handed, sometimes it's easier to turn. So it definitely shows up a little bit better on the darker marker. You can see how the white just really pops on that teal color. So I'm starting again with that center line on the flower, and then I'm kind of working my way around that with each petal, pulling the color out from the center and just kind of flicking that out in kind of a flicking motion, and then pulling a little bit in from the edge of the petals. So I'm going to wrap up this flower, and then I'm going to slow this video down just a little bit more as I hold this up so you can get a little bit better close-up of each of these flowers, and then we'll go back to the regular process part of the video. But I just want you to see how I'm flicking that out and pulling it in, and it really looks really cool on these dark flowers. I've kind of added the highlight here, and then I'll hold that up close for you. Okay, now that I've got my flowers done, I'm ready to bring them in, and I still feel like I want some stenciling done on this base page. So before I put those down and start gluing down my pieces, I am going to bring in this stencil. Hopefully you can see that. This is also from the Dreammaker Special. And because my flowers are the gold and the peacock or teal color, I wanted to bring in more of the Sangria color. So I'm going to bring in the Sangria ink, and this is of course a retired color because all of these colors are retired, and my blending brush and my stencil here. And I'm gonna do a little stenciling here where my flower cluster is going to be, so I have some of that stenciling to kind of ground my embellishments here, and then up there in the corner, and then up here where my little tags are gonna, my banners are gonna hang down. So that's my objective here. So I'm gonna move some of this out of the way, and we'll get some of that stenciling down. This color is pretty dark, and I want it to be dark so it matches my paper color. And I'm just gonna hold that down, hopefully nice and tight. I'm gonna start down in this area because I know it's gonna be covered, and then work my way outward and kind of do it like that. So I don't want to go all the way to the edge. I just kind of want to make it like fade out, and I want it to be darker here in the center. So I'm gonna get a little bit more ink on my brush and then let it fade out. The paper out of the way. And we'll take a peek, and that is more of what I'm looking for. It's going to come a little bit more out here so it looks a little faded and perfect. And then I'm going to come up here in the corner and do the same thing. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper because I anticipate that kind of coming off the edge of the paper over here. So I'll ink that up and just let her rip. I think I want to let it fade out up here. Like that. And then just a little hint up here. Yeah, perfect. So I kind of am creating a little visual triangle there where I'm going to have some of those flowers. So I need to clean off this stencil, so I'm just going to put it over to the side. And now I can really think about dry fitting everything and gluing, start to glue all of my pieces down. So I see I got a little ink spot there, but I'm hoping that that will be covered up, which it should be, so I'm not too worried about it. So now I feel like things are coming together much better this time around. But I think it's important for you guys to see that everything's not always perfect for all of us the first go around, and sometimes we have to give it a few tries. So yeah, perfect. That does get covered up. I can move this over a little bit. So then I'm thinking, you know, my flower clusters will go over here and up here in the corner. That's a little crooked. And then I can pull in my little banners up here and put another flower. So I've got my visual triangle there as well. So let me get that glued down, and then I have some other things I want to bring in for embellishing as well. Okay, so I've got everything down. I've pulled in this title, and we talked a lot about pulling in different bits and pieces from different paper packs, and this is another example how I can pull in some embellishments. This is from the Good Life Compliments. It's really old, so I'm really using up a lot of my stash. It makes me so happy. So I had saved these, and although they're not exactly the same color, I think they complement well enough with, again, the color in her little outfit that I think they work, and I'm happy with that. So I have some other little bits and pieces that I'm going to pull in here and use as embellishments as well. So this is a piece, and I just took it and put some white cardstock behind it that I'm thinking I'm going to put over here to tuck under this cluster. And then I added some other pieces over here that I thought I might use as well, just to kind of add to some of my clusters that I already have put together. So let's see, I'm thinking maybe something like this over here. And these hearts are adorable. Gotta have some hearts and some stars. So I'll get those glued down off camera. And then I also mentioned the center of these flowers I wasn't worried about when I colored them in, because I was going to just add some stickles to those. So what I'm going to do is I'm bringing in the gold stickles I thought that would be a good complement to the color scheme I've got. And so I'm just going to use my Stickles to make the little, I can never remember if they're called stamens or stamens, but I'm going to add those to the center of my flowers. So it'll take me a second to get this going. I'm not going to add a lot, but just some little touches there. These bigger flowers need a little bit more. And these tiny ones, I can just do little tiny dots. And I would love for you guys to tell me what you like most about the layout or least about the layout. I think I stuck my hand in that one. So hopefully I didn't get any on the layout. Tell me your comments on what you like best and least, or any other comments about this. And I'd love to, get back to you, hear from you. So I'm going to put these down. And then I also brought in my gold glitter gems. So I'm thinking I might add some of these or some Stickles as some final touches, and then some journaling. So let me get these glued down, and then we'll see what we want to add for final touches. Okay, I finished off the layout, and I decided, since I already had the Stickles working with me, I went ahead and added some extra Stickles embellishment dots throughout the layout. And it's interesting to see how they have a different reflection when I put them on top of the Sangria ink versus on top of the white paper. So it almost looks like there's perhaps two different types of Stickles on there, but it's not, it's just one. So this is the finished layout. I have not put any journaling on here because I haven't decided. I may decide to go ahead and do a companion page with this one with additional photos from the evening dinner. So I may do my journaling on that side instead. So there's no journaling on this one, but I do have a title. I like how I was able to bring that down because there was a lot of extra room at the top of the photos here. So I kind of filled some of that space by bringing my title down on top of that. So I'm really happy that I did take the time and got rid of the original paper here. So I'm going to bring that back in and just show you by comparison what a difference that made by just taking the time and evaluating that I really wasn't happy with this. Scrap it, start over, and do something that I was really happy with, even though, it took me a little bit more time in the end, but it was well worth it. So let me bring in the sketch here again, and we'll do a little quick compare. I kept the basic layout of the page consistent with what the sketch has. As far as the hearts and how it's embellished here, I did something completely different. So I like using the sketch as the jumping off point as far as like, this is the meat and potatoes, but as far as the vegetables and everything else, I totally did something completely different in my design. So I really like that about sketches, because I think that I get the outline and then I do all the filler work and make it my own that way. I also wanted to bring in my bingo card because I really did not think I was going to use the markers or color pencils, and I did. So I surprised myself with that, again, because my vision was completely different and I totally changed it up. So I'm getting close to having another bingo there as well. I hope you enjoyed that, and I really hope you appreciated me showing you how things can totally go a different way than expected when working on your layouts and having a vision. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, send me some comments. I'd love to read your comments and comment back to you as well. Stay tuned for more. I'm getting through the month. I'm starting to get a little bit behind, but we'll work to get caught up, and we will see you soon. Thanks for taking the time for watching. Bye, everyone.